Tragic moments on paternity court.
I am miserable as hell. 8 years. I'm tired of this. He needs to leave. I just want him to leave. And if he want to be a daddy to them kids, he can be a daddy to them kids outside of the house.
And that is not true
the
either.
house is tainted.
That ain't true either.
It's
You know why I can't be a father outside the house?
I have been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once talk to her or see her.
When I talked to him and told him I was pregnant.
I have had to create a Facebook account just to see pictures of a lady.
All right, paternity peeps, strap in for this wild tale of love, despair, and downright tragedy. Miss Forrest bailed on Mr. Webb just when he was on life support in the hospital, and she jetted back to her hubby. Now he's storming into court, dead set on being the true baby daddy, flipping the script on Mr. Forrest.
He's in the bed on life support, and now you have reconciled with your husband.
Yes, Your Honor, but I tried to see him. His mother would not let me see him.
I'm sure there were some feelings because you had gotten back with your husband while he's fighting for his life.
I've loved Mr. Webb at the time, but we were...
You loved him?
Well, I mean,
Well, Miss Forrest claims to the court that her daughter was born in May 2013. And when you go back 9 months, the conception window leads to August. Now, here's the twist. She admits to being intimate with both men during that time.
Now you here to tell me you know that your child is fathered by Mr. Forrest and you've got this close proximity?
Yes, Your Honor, she looks just like my husband. She takes after him.
But you do realize this difference in time, this is a part of the same window of conception. You do understand that, right, Ms. Forrest?
Yes, Your Honor.
To make matters worse, regardless of knowing the approximate dates, Miss Forrest hasn't even allowed Mr. Webb to see the child even once in these 2 long years. And the reason she gives for doing so is just so bizarre.
I'm afraid that if he does get to see my daughter, that he can run off with her, and
Because he's
there's
not
nothing
threatening
I can do to get
So
her
you
back.
admit, Ms. Forrest, that you've been blocking Mr. Webb from seeing
Yes.
Elena?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, isn't that tragic? Mr. Webb was in tears. How cruel can someone be? Isn't that the opposite of what we usually witness in paternity court? 'Cause normally, men don't want to do anything if they have doubts. However, our plaintiff was saying the opposite.
I have been in tears for the last 2 years trying to meet my daughter, and she has never let me once
When I
talk to
called-
her or see her.
When I talked to
have
him and
had
told him
to
I was
create
pregnant.
a Facebook account just to see pictures of Elena.
Miss Forrest wasn't able to see the committed emotions of Mr. Webb. It almost felt like she was in denial, only because she wanted to save her relationship with her husband. But you know how Judge Lake's an expert in breaking the ice.
Ms. Forrest, are you afraid he's gonna take your daughter, or are you afraid he's her biological father?
I'm afraid that he's gonna take my daughter.
He's done something to take our child.
He called me about 2 weekends ago. I was on my way to Arkansas, and he told me that if I don't let him see her, he's gonna take her to court, or take me to court, and he's gonna take her away from me.
Mr. Forrest, what an audacity! You weren't even sure! And above all, what you did to the man for almost 2 years? How about we bring this paternity triangle to a closure? So, here's the paternity queen reading the results.
It has been determined by this court that her biological father is Mr. Webb.
Well, now you know who's the real baby daddy, Miss Forrest. What's gonna be your game plan now? One thing was for certain though. Mr. Webb didn't just try pulling up in front of your house to kidnap the child, right?
Be clear, you did not just cheat him. You cheated her.
Yeah, we-
You knew it could be a possibility.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my husband and my family over this.
Well, this is my point. You're thinking about yourself.
That's all he thought about when we were together.
You're thinking about yourself.
The courtroom drama kicks off with Mr. Brown and Miss Lever. Picture this, an emotional dad pouring his heart out, passionately arguing that he's the real deal, the biological father of Jaira, the defendant's daughter. And get this, she's straight up denying it.
Miss Lever, I see how upset you
I
are.
would never deny him the right to see his kids, but he has to be done in decency and in order, and he is out of order completely.
The entire home life is out of order. And when we have chaos and disorder, children can't grow up healthy and happy.
According to the defendant, the claims of Mr. Brown have been nothing but bogus. She testifies to the back and forth nature of the plaintiff, one of the reasons for her denying the baby being his. But today, she's here to spill the beans.
During the time that Jara was conceived, I was dealing with a family crisis. Also, my ex was also dealing with the same crisis. And so during that time, we bonded, we kind of rekindled things, and that's the time in which Jara was conceived.
April 2011, you were dealing with a sick family member.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Lever told the court that she has been living in a nightmare where the plaintiff hasn't even been working to provide for the family, and above all, living in her house. So she had to go back to her ex to make ends meet.
So you all are still living together?
Because he won't leave.
Because I have children.
Well,
I grew up without a father. I am not going to allow my children to grow up without a father.
I am miserable, Your Honor.
And I am as
He
well.
needs to leave. He needs to go.
But it hurts my children.
I am miserable as hell. 8 years. I'm tired of this.
But there might be another story that we've all been missing here. Here's another interesting revelation that Miss Lever might have created to stay away from the mess in her life. Just listen to what she has to say, yelling at the peak of her lungs.
He needs to leave. I'm drove crazy. I'm just want him to leave. And if he want to be a daddy to them kids, he can be a daddy to them kids outside of the house.
And that is not true
the
either.
house is tainted.
That ain't true either.
It's
You know why I
tainted.
can't be a father outside the house? Because I'll call her to talk to my children, she'll block my number.
Okay, so we understand what's happening here. Miss Lever got sick of Mr. Brown's inability to earn, so she planned on cheating with her ex just to create this paternity doubt. Additionally, knowing that the plaintiff wasn't doing anything for the family.
You know when she screams for me to leave, Your Honor? When I'm not working.
You ain't never working.
Your Honor.
So
when
who
I'm
works
not
in this
working-
family?
Nobody. She don't work. She ain't never worked.
I get state assistance. At the
Least-
end of the day,
No.
you are the man and
At
you
the
living in
end
my
of the
house
day-
and you need to work or leave.
At the end of
You
the
don't
day, Your
work.
Honor.
You don't provide nothing.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, but I'm just tired of this.
Ugh, now isn't that just sad? All this hassle and creation of paternity doubt just for the sake of some money. But what about the mental health of the child, Miss Lever? Both parties must have to understand each other's needs. So before they can do that, how about we give them the closure first? Yep, DNA result time.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father. This is overwhelming.
Oh boy. So what Miss Lever mentioned earlier was indeed true. And she just had to go with another man because her own man wasn't man enough to take the responsibility for the family. And just look where we are now. Just tragic.
My daughter has a bond with him. She loves him. They love him. But this is just not healthy. The road is ended. And if he wants to still, Jara loves him.
I have invested my life, my heart, my soul into her kids.
I've invested into you too.
Isn't it cute if a father inks his daughter's name? Right. But what if another man other than your father does the same? Now, that's one modern plot for the paternity doubt. And Miss Andrews finds herself in a rather inked situation.
Your Honor, honestly, Mr. Glenn has not been in my life the entire years that I have been living. I was raised by the father. My biological father was in my life. I've never known a Mr. Glenn. I don't know him.
You never knew Mr. Glenn.
I knew of him.
Miss Andrews faced a tough situation when she got news that would change her life a lot. It was hard for her to believe the truth, and she felt stressed about it. Even though she didn't want to, she had good reasons to prove Mr. Glenn wrong.
When you say you knew of him, explain.
I knew that he was the father of my youngest sister. Supposedly we had different fathers, and it was never a question.
Miss Andrews was lucky to have a great dad, and she never wanted someone else to take his place. Her father had always been there for her, giving advice, help, and love without any conditions. That's how she describes their relationship.
I had a great relationship with my father. Although I did not live in the same household as he came around. He attended family reunions. He done things for me. He was even at my graduation, my high school graduation. He was at my college graduation as well.
After many years, she found out that he wasn't her biological dad. This shocking discovery made her question who she was and left her feeling confused and uncertain. Facing this truth was tough, but she knew she had to deal with it directly.
I was going to a restaurant to have something to eat, and I run into him, and he revealed to me that I was his daughter, and he showed me the tattoo on his leg. This is the time I'm still grieving over the loss of my father, who passed on my due date of my second child, and now I need answers.
It's not just you, Miss Andrews. We're all here to discover the answers. When questioned about why this was kept a secret, Mr. Glenn, the man with glasses, explained his reasons for making that decision. Here's what he had to say.
Me and her mother grew up together,
Okay.
raised up together, and we started dating in 76. And then I left for about 8 months. When I left and I came back, Donna was born. She was about 2-3 months old.
You were in a relationship with Ms. Andrews' mother.
Right.
The courtroom was shocked and confused when Miss Andrews' stepsister stood up to share her story. In a surprising twist, she made some shocking confessions that had everyone in the courtroom surprised. Oh, wow!
He had opportunity to be a father to her, even
So
when
your
she was like a
point is,
baby.
If he is the father of your younger sister, why not just say, I'm also the father
Exactly.
of...
You know, he had opportunity. He said that she was raised in a good family. She was raised, her father's family was, and he is, Roger Andrews is her father.
The case about who is Miss Andrews' father was still happening, and Judge Lake understood that asking more questions might make things worse. So, she decided to bring things to a close for both sides to make sure there's a clear record of who is and who isn't Miss Andrews' father.
You are her father.
Oh my God. Oh, sis. Oh my God. Wrong for that. You're wrong for that. Shine, you could have done better. Oh my God. Okay, sis.
It's decision time for Mr. Poyer, and the stakes are high. It's either stepping up to the plate or facing a hefty $5,000 hit. Miss Poyer isn't playing around. She's taken legal action against her son, Mr. Poyer, aiming to get back the cash he owes for overdue rent and utility bills.
My son, he's lazy. I feel that he's lazy. I'm your mother. I try to do the best that I can for you. You cannot just want to lay around, not want to do anything, not want to help me, take care of the household or help me pay any bills. You cannot talk to me like I'm one of your friends in the street.
Now, isn't that the sound of a mother who has been requesting her son to show her some respect? Your insensitivity towards your mother, Mr. Poyer, is just tragic. And above all, just look how he defends himself.
The way she speaks to me all the time is just really contradicting to that statement. Like, she talks down to me, she yells, she talks to me with sarcasm. You know what I'm saying? And then she comes at me with this, I'm lazy, but you're the same person who'll get off the train on your way home and walk past 5 stores and come upstairs and go, you go to the store and buy me a soda and a bag of chips. Didn't you just walk past the store?
She isn't some woman off the street, Mr. Poyer. So what if she uses sarcasm? She's your mother, isn't she? But you should at least be a little considerate of what the old woman requires. Just hear her out for once.
When I get home, it's 7 or 8 o'clock at nighttime. You can cook, you can clean. Okay, yes, I know my attitude is challenging, yes. I'll say that, but I had to do this by myself. I was mom and I was dad.
When you were living with her, were you contributing to the best of your
I
ability?
felt that I was.
According to the plaintiff, she's been the one who was providing for the family. And yet, Mr. Poyer had the audacity of wanting to do whatever he did, like living with her and not paying rent. But what you're about to hear next is just, oh man.
Watching television and you walk in the house. Now, you don't want to watch what I'm watching, so I have to stop everything I'm doing.
When your mother works all day and you've been at home watching TV, when your mother comes home, if she wants to see something on television in her house, the remote goes to her hand and she watches what she wants to watch. Ruling is in.
But what's even more tragic is the bad influence of his girlfriend. She has been also manipulating Mr. Poyer to pay rent for living with her, but not to his mother. Can someone please knock some sense into this man?
You are paying her mother
I am paying
a
rent now.
steady amount of
I have
money.
a steady job now, so I can afford to
A
pay a steady
no,
amount of money.
no. Because you stated to this court when you worked for almost 3 months, which is 12 weeks, that you only paid, in your estimation, $300.
All of Mr. Poyer's childish behavior has kept a mother apart from her son. And we all know this is something that has to hurt the plaintiff. Just listen to what she has to say about this. Better grab a tissue box for this tragedy.
Miss Poyer, you look emotional.
I love my son. All I want is for my child just to grow up. But then it was time to come in here, Mom, I didn't get paid this, that, the other. But yet still, you going in there to find your little roll up and your little, to do your business.
That's right, Miss Poyer. Not just you. Every parent in the world wants their child to just grow up. How about you give him another chance? And maybe you can just reconcile with him. But his attitude wasn't changing. Just see what happens next.
I will offer you the option of dropping your suit against your son, or if you'd like to continue with it, I will rule on it.
I still want him to pay, but you know what? To push you out the nest, for you to find your wings. At the end of the day, I did my job.